Hey everybody, how we doing today? So here we're going to get now into the basic spectrum. This is how we're going to measure our political ideologies. And so you need this part of your notes right here, these two diagrams on it, and this page here will get into kind of what the different sides believe. All right, so we're going to go through that right now. So if you have this out, please get those pens out, ready to go, and add some materials in as to what will go on here. All right, so take a pause if you need to, get your stuff out. Let's take a look at our political spectrum and introduction to that idea. So we hear a lot of people talk about left, right, conservative, liberal, all that kind of stuff, okay? But a spectrum is literally a tool to compare political positions. Usually it's like how far left you are, how far right you are. That's usually what we use for terminology with it. So really we're just taking an idea of where you fit in politically and putting it on a line. That's all we're really doing, all right? So the main line we have here is that first one in your notes, which is this left, right, or center kind of idea. Right being more conservative, left being more liberal, center being, well, centers in the middle, okay? And the two things we're measuring with this is two big ideas here. Yes, write these down, please, okay? One is how much change do you want to have happen in the government, okay? So how much change do I feel like should take place in government, and how fast should that change go? The second part here is how much should the government get involved or intervene with lives of the people, especially with the economy. More the economy than anything, okay? How much should the government get involved in that economy? How many new laws should they make, or should they be allowed businesses and people be allowed to do kind of whatever they want to do? And that's where the two areas really come in here in terms of our political spectrum. How much change and how much the government intervenes or gets involved in the lives of people. So here's the general assumptions we got here, okay, when it comes to our stuff, all right? Number one is that the left, the more liberal side, usually wants more government intervention in the economy and more and rapid change, okay? More government intervention in money stuff, more rapid change. The right typically wants less government intervention, something called laissez-faire. It's a French term, means leave us alone. And they want little to no change, keep things the way they are, even maybe make them back to the way they were before a little bit. So the left, okay, looking at more change, more government stuff, okay. The right, less change or slow change, less government involvement when it comes to economy, all right? So really it's kind of this idea, right? So looking at our conservative ideas here, liberal is really this belief based on progress, right? Could government a instrument to solve problems? So really what they're looking at, what the answer is to solve problems. They say government, good. Progress and change, good. Inequality, not good, okay? Whereas conservative, more to the right, is very different. They're more about traditional respect of institutions, power, personal freedom, the rights you have, that kind of thing. They feel individual is good, okay? Work for yourself. Change, not good. We don't got to change things. Keep things the way they are. And freedom and choice are good. Kind of do what you want to do kind of thing. And live with those results afterwards. And so it's kind of, a very different kind of belief. It's about how much the government does stuff, okay? How much we're going to change. And then looking at the country. On the liberal side, we want to change and fix inequality. Over here, it's kind of like you have a right and freedom to do what you want to do kind of situation. So quick recap, left, more change, more government intervention. Right, more traditional values, less government intervention, less change. Okay. Now we can get a little more further than this if we want to. Okay, as we go left to right, we can get more terminology here. So if you're really far left, you're considered radical, which means you want big change very, very quickly. Okay, that's what radical basically means. So a radical leftist type thing. You really can't have a radical right. I hear it's being said all the time. Radical right's not really a thing. But basically means you're willing to act in ways that are different. You're willing to use violence, revolution, that kind of stuff to make that happen. Whereas your more liberal is like, hey, we're going to do things peaceful to change and not do violent revolution, do laws, government actively involved in stuff. Your moderate shares a little mix of both. They want to wait and see. They want to go slow. Not a lot of extreme views, that kind of thing. Whereas conservatives want to keep things status quo, the way they are basically. They're not going to change new policies, not do more government stuff, kind of be more chill about those things, how we're going to do it. Basically, they feel the less government involvement, the better, is what they feel like. Government, stay out of my business. Then you have reactionaries. They want things to go back to what they were before, often using measures to get like what they want. That's where like fascism, Nazism kind of comes in, and that they want to use methods such as repression of government power, that kind of stuff, to get the ones they want to do. So they're going to I don't want to call it more reactionary kind of situation than a radical kind of situation. So what we're going to look at is this four-sided compass, which you see on the wall in our classroom, okay? And we're going to use some words here like libertarian versus authoritarian, left versus right. And so our x-axis, or our horizontal axis here, is the economic stuff. How much you want government involved in the economic parts, the money parts of your life. Taxes, unemployment, minimum wage, that kind of stuff. To the left, you want more involvement. To To the right, you want less. Okay. On the other side of it, so that's kind of we're seeing our economic ruler is that horizontal line. Okay. The left, more government involvement, more tax on rich people, more free healthcare, more safety nets, all that kind of stuff. To the right, it's less government involvement, lower taxes, less rules for businesses, more private companies doing their things. The government stays out of your stuff. Okay. Now the social ruler is up and down then. Okay. We have the words authoritarian and libertarian. Authoritarian means the government has more control over people's lives, more rules, traditions. So this could be things like if you can smoke weed or not, if you own guns or not. It could be the case of who you marry, LGBTQ rights, that kind of stuff. It could be all those kind of ideas. How we kind of keep tradition going a certain way. Whereas the downside is more libertarian. You notice the word liberty is in here, okay? Basically, you can do what you want to do. Right, this includes preference for more personal freedoms and less rules about stuff. Okay, so authoritarian may have more rules about what you can do, who you can hang out with, what you can say, all that kind of deal. Whereas libertarians will like say what you want to do. Okay, an authoritarian might say well, no marijuana is not good, no guns, that kind of deal. Whereas libertarians are going to be like, listen, you can grow your own weed, marry your same-sex partner, and have a gun to protect your weed, that kind of thing. All right. So we bring it up here, we kind of see where some of these ideas are. So like communism is very authoritarian, everybody involves everything. Fascism, very far right, whereas you kind of keep more personal stuff under government control. Libertarianism is down here. Government stays out of everything, and anarchism down here as well, which is basically nobody does any kind of control whatsoever. So we look at it here, we have our populism, we call it an authoritarian left. So here we want to have government controls the economy and people's lives, okay? So government owns business, say what they can read or write. I think like USSR, communist Russia, that kind of thing here, okay? To the top right then is more authoritarian, right, more conservatism today. Government stays out of businesses, right? They kind of do what they want to do. They kind of stay out of business stuff, but they stay more in people's lives. So a government might protect private companies, but like make more rules about religion or immigration or LGBTQ rights, that kind of situation. What you can do in your own home, that kind of thing. Whereas a libertarian left is going to basically be like, hey, government doesn't control anything. Government stays out of all your stuff, okay? Stays out of everything. And you don't get involved in any of the kind of things that are out there. You stay out of everything, okay? And you just basically don't do nothing, okay? Whereas more libertarians on this side is going to be a country with very few laws about personal behavior, about any of those kind of things as well. So people are more self-reliant. Government kind of stays out of everything. And where you can kind of be is based upon where that stuff is on these lines here, okay? Hopefully you're filling these out in your little note sheet, okay? Here with the liberalism, it's like government should not control people's lives, marry who want to marry, get involved with that kind of stuff, those kind of deals. But they're going to say more about the economic kind of thing, equality, that kind of stuff. And over here, like I say, you kind of do what you want to do. You stay out of everybody's life, stay out of everything if you can. Why is it a better idea? Well, it makes it a little more complicated in that it's not just simple as left or right, but looking both what you feel economically and what you feel in terms of social issues as a more accurate way to figure out where you actually fit in the world. Here is a list for people that were running for office. So like J.D. Vance and Donald Trump were up here in this area, more the conservative, whereas Kamala Harris, Tim Walz were still more to the right, it seems a little bit in this part, but not far left, but they're more closer to that libertarian side in terms of personal freedoms. And so if we go really extreme left, right, well, we have socialism, right, where basically the government controls everything. Socialism would be kind of like way up here, okay, where government controls every single aspect of your life. Kind of communism is what Karl Marx did, all that kind of stuff, where we have things ever being equal, no free market economy, everything gets controlled by the government, all that kind of stuff. Whereas on the other side, completely on the other side, is going to be libertarianism, where government controls absolutely nothing. Right? You would have less law enforcement, less rules, all that kind of stuff. And you kind of do what you want to do that way. And some people think that those are the extremes we have of those two areas. All right, that's the notes we got, everybody. Thank you for your time and your attention. I appreciate it. Make sure you use it for class. You guys are awesome. Thank you.